weak. And he's like, power! Unlimited power!
After a thorough examination, I have concluded not only are you ugly, you're a schmuck.
But we'll talk about that later.
Anyway. You guys made it. We made it. We're back in.
We are.
Talking.
2 weeks in a row.
Yeah.
Let's go.
We're on a streak. Talking everyone's favorite. Star Wars.
All things. All things Star Wars.
All things. First things first, though. Like, follow, subscribe.
Yes.
Check out our Patreon.
Patreon.com/schmuckscollectibles.
It allows us to do this for you guys. It gets you in our Discord. We got giveaways. You guys can get voting power. We can
all the fun things.
Let's
do it. Come talk to us. Come hang out with us. We want to meet all you guys. We want to talk to you. Talk Star Wars. Why don't you teach us things about Star Wars that we don't know?
Yeah, there's a lot. I'm sure.
There's a lot.
With that said, will we get into our weekend gaming?
Brian, talk to me about your week. How was your week this week in gaming? What happened?
It's really starting to ramp up. So I'm diving in on the painting.
Yes.
We played our first. Well, I'm not gonna say game. We got last Friday. We played about 2 rounds of Legion. It was epic. But I had basically the Separatist Invasion box. So I had like Grievous, the Magna Guards.
I'll edit the list in. I'm going to put them right here.
Yeah. 4 units.
I'll edit Brian's list in here, and then when I talk about mine, I'll edit them so you guys can see what we played in our
4
first
units
game.
of droids, I think. Maul.
Mm-hmm.
But this week I got
Maul's little balls.
Yeah, I got
Maul's balls.
Droids. I got Cad Bane built. I got Asajj built. So they're on the docket to paint.
Okay, dumb question. So you're playing over here is a Separatist, and Cad Bane fits in that faction.
Yep.
And they do well. Okay, so those are all Separatists. Everything you've been building and painting.
Yep. Okay. But Cad Bane you can take in Empire.
I would say he can go other places, right? He's kind of like a bounty hunter little guy.
Yep. I also picked up the Separate Specialist box and the Super Tactical Droid, so you can use him. There's like 3 versions of him you can use as a commander.
Cool.
So those are all built and primed. So those are going to hit the docket to be painted. And hopefully by next week, we're really going to get some good lists up on the table. But we got to play a couple rounds and brought back a lot of good memories.
Yeah.
Got the juices flowing.
Yeah, we'll talk about
so
that.
I'm excited.
Yeah, we're going to dive right into that in a second.
So how'd your week go?
My week, same thing. I got my full initial army painted. And same thing. I'm playing a little bit again. I'll put the list right up here. I'll put them in there from the Tabletop Admiral. My list stayed the same. I'm just playing something that I thought would be easy to learn with. So I just took like clones.army. Like it's Cody, Rex, 2 phase 1s, a phase 2, a Z6 on 1, a Z6 on phase 2, and then 5s Echo, and then I think I have Echo with like 1 guy on a strike team, and then a squad of 4 arcs with 5s and 2 bark speeders. So it's just clones and 2 bark speeders. I thought it would be easier. I wanna eventually, I think that's a good list where I can go in the Republic and add, whoever, Anakin, Padme. I can add Yoda, a Chewie Yoda, or just Yoda, whatever. And I think it's a good place to start where I can kind of mold it into what would be called a competitive list. But right now it's just, and I don't know. Judging from what I've seen, I don't think that Cody's any slouch. As a commander, I actually really enjoyed him. I think he's good. And I think actually when we look at in our next segment, take a little look. I think he actually saw some play at PAX. So that was my week. I didn't really watch anything new. I'm thinking about playing Jedi Survivor, which is the sequel to Fallen Order. I heard it's dope, maybe even as dope as the first one. But other than that, no, just
I didn't watch
a lot of painting and building.
I did see a spoiler for Boba Fett the book of Boba Fett.
Oh yeah, season?
Season
Yeah,
2 or
nice,
something.
cool.
And there's a lot of
Check it
Star
out.
Wars in Fortnite. I've been playing a lot of Star Wars.
Yeah.
Fortnite.
All right. So that was our week in gaming. Now we're gonna let's take a little break. We'll come back and talk about our first game.
All right.
So Brian, as we were saying in our week in gaming, quickly we touched on it. I did my first ever. I've never rolled. I even put up a little TikTok, YouTube short of my first attack roll for I was say Detroit. Looking at your hat. For Legion, Star Wars Legion. So I have played Marvel Crisis Protocol. I've played HeroClix. I've dabbled lightly in Warhammer 40,000 on 2 different occasions. But I would never say that minis games are my forte. You know, strategic wargaming is not my forte. I'm more of a card game guy. But I will say that I am super excited to get into Legion and take it to that next level. I mean, I really was excited by the different varieties of deployment, the objectives. I thought the way that you give out, is it orders? Is it called giving out orders? I thought that was really kind of new and refreshing. I liked the flipping of the cards, and I thought that there was just from the 2. We only played 2 rounds just to kind of get our feet wet and go over the rules and for me to learn. I thought it was fairly streamlined enough, and that the game could be enjoyable and not take forever. And I thought there was enough decision points where I thought to myself, man, this is going to make for some really cool interactions. Like I thought, okay, I can see where if I use this card now, it's going to be vastly different than I use this card later. If I activate this unit now, so I saw so many decision trees where I was just like, these are meaningful and cool, and it's not just like attack, move, move. So I really enjoyed that. How about you? What did you was it good scratching the itch? What did you miss? What did you remember?
It was
change?
so I played when the game first came out. I don't know, was that 2018 maybe?
I don't know why I want to say 16, but I might be wrong.
Oh,
I don't know. That just sounds
right. A long time ago. But about the core and a few expansions, and I probably had 5 or 6 games under my belt, but it was great. This brought back all the good memories. It's a little bit more overwhelming now, though, with all the different factions now and characters and stuff. But I will say this. I think Atomic Mass, listen, we came from Marvel Crisis Protocol. And this dude, he basically ruined the game for me with one statement.
I did.
And it was basically that you could win the game without even attacking. And when we found that to be true, it put a hole in my heart. I loved the war game. I loved Warhammer. That was very overwhelming as well. And I feel like this is hitting the sweet spot on all levels. I feel like I don't think you're winning the game without attacking by any means.
No, and I think you're right. I think it's a great balance. There's an objective, but it doesn't feel like the objective is the sole way to win the game. I think, and we'll touch again. We're kind of getting ahead of ourselves, but even talking about like the kind of sort of hot button issue right now with the tiebreaker. I think you're in a game now where unless you want to deal with that, you got to attack.
Right.
You know.
So I still have to say that Legion, I think, is it's not as crazy as Warhammer, but it still gives you that war game.
Yes, it gives you a large scale. I would call it a medium scale war game. Is that a fair assessment?
Yeah.
It's not. I wouldn't call it as small as a skirmish game. I mean, I think like a skirmish game, like you had, you've got. Like a Marvel Crisis Protocol, Shatterpoint. I think those are skirmish games.
And they have skirmish rules for Legion too.
Yeah, but
no, this is.
But I mean, I was able to. I mean, I brought my army over today in one small Citadel army box. I think my army is 20 minis.
And then most importantly, the IP. The IP is so important for me when I play a game.
Yeah.
So Warhammer was cool, but I mean, I guess Warhammer is like its own IP, but
It is, and they have the Black Library in the books. But if you're not into that, like
it doesn't
these
hit.
characters don't have. I don't feel the same. Like we had a whole conversation about Mace Windu.
Yeah,
You know, like
it
there's
doesn't
no
hit like Star
Warhammer
Wars.
character I could talk about like Mace Windu, and that there's dozens of Star Wars characters we could sit here and talk about our favorite and their favorite stories and their favorite parts.
Yeah.
And there's an expansive universe, like you said. You get into the animated series, you get into now the Disney Plus series. There's, from what I understand, I think there's like books upon books.
Just books
Yeah,
and books
so
and books.
it's cool.
So it's bringing back all the good memories. It's even elevating them. I have the desire to play all the time now.
Same. It is absolutely reunited that fire. If I'm not painting, I like a full hobby. I like building boards. I like building terrain. I love painting. I get a little artsy with it. I made a few really nice Warhammer boards and scenery pieces in my day that I just enjoy. That I enjoy working my hands like that. So I mean, sitting down there building models and painting. I think we're gonna maybe post a few painting videos. I think we should post some little shorts about our painting.
We'll
pretty
probably
proud.
make a couple boards here. We'll even get that.
Absolutely. I'm gonna make a couple snow one. I want to make some other cool maps. So it just being a full hobby, it keeps my mind occupied all the time. Building forces, checking out new characters, building models, painting. There's always something to do, and I love that. That makes the hobby just that much better for me.
Yeah, because you can't play, but there's still something you can do.
You can be involved. You can go touch plastic and build guys and do things. Yeah. Because a card game is hard. That's what makes a card game difficult. When there's not another player, your card game is pretty dead.
Yeah, you can only build so many decks.
Yeah, right? Yeah, you sit there and goldfish so many times.
Yeah.
For sure. But yes, love it. We're going to play again tonight. So we will hopefully soon have a full battle report from a full game that we played with very minimal errors.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Cool. So we can go up into some news.
Yeah, we're going to jump in here. We're going to take a little break, come back with some news.
Welcome.
Just a little update here. We were listening to our favorite podcast. Shout out to the Fifth Trooper. What is it? Notorious Scoundrels.
Well, there's actually two. So it's the Fifth Trooper Network, right?
Right. Which is crazy. They have a network. But look at you guys. Network. Good for you. Yeah.
But they got Notorious Scoundrels, and they just got the Fifth Trooper separate podcasts.
Do you ever listen to the Fifth Trooper podcast?
Well, Fifth Trooper, I think is more my style right now because the Notorious Scoundrels are the competitive podcast.
It's the only one I've ever listened to.
And I'm just going to be honest, I'm not there yet.
I'm not either.
I listen to them both, but I don't know a lot what the Scoundrels are talking about.
It is. We were talking about that earlier. I listened to the Notorious Scoundrels podcast, and I'm like Googling the acronyms. I'm like, come on, man. Like, hey, talk to someone who's new and kind of slow.
I still don't know what CIS stands. I play technically CIS. I don't even know. Or CSI. I don't even know.
CSI, Crime Scene Investigators.
So you can put in the comments, help that out.
But we heard from them and confirmed online that we got some good news. The Geonosians box, the Geonosian Warriors,
moved up.
Let's go sooner. We get our cool stuff sooner.
How often do you hear that?
Never. Amazing.
If you ever played HeroClix, stuff gets pushed back a month. This is coming up a month.
Yeah, more than a month, I think. Yeah. So we are getting the Geonosians bumped up to January 19th. That's basically a month away. By the time this video comes out, it'll be by the time I edit this video. And then the coolest part, let's talk about this because that has implications, right? Because if they're bumping up the release schedule and not just the box, now we're talking about they might push up Inquisitors. And
before Worlds.
Possibly before Worlds. For those who don't know, because I didn't know, I had to look it up. Worlds is at Adepticon. Held at Adepticon. Adepticon is in March 20th through 24th. March is going to be a good month. We are getting in March Star Wars Unlimited. There's speculation that the new Star Wars video game, Star Wars Outlaws, which looks already legit, will be out in March. And Worlds possibly have Inquisitors.
That's like the trifecta of...
Yeah, you get a Star Wars video game, a Star Wars card game, and Worlds for Star Wars Legion. It's going to be the best month ever.
I mean, what?
That's wild. And I'll be honest, guys, we are already talking about being at Adepticon. I doubt we're going to play in Worlds, but I plan on being there with cameras and figures and swag and all those things because we just want to be where it's happening.
Yeah. What else we got?
Well, they did. There was a they did talk about as well that we did see the backside of that new Geonosian Warrior card, the add-on weapon. What was it? The Force Pike? Geonosian Warrior with the Force Pike. So it was a flip card. It's suppression.
Yeah, so
I'll put a picture of it up here.
Yeah, one side had overwhelm with a suppress. They both sides had a suppressive attack.
Okay,
but one side had overwhelm.
Overrun. Yes, nice.
Together we'll do it.
We will do. We'll get there. Teamwork.
So we were just kind of talking the implications that might have, but we're newbies, so I don't know how.
Yeah, get in the comments. Explain to us like how this works. Is it are they getting 2 suppression tokens? Is it? And I know they talked about it on the Notorious Scoundrels cast a little bit that like they believe that overrun might be changed because right now, as it stated, it says specifically notched
bases, and these guys
which
don't.
Obviously they don't. So maybe some implications to the rules change or like a rule document changed with the overrun wording or specifically.
What do you think about overrun? Is it? Let us know. Is it going to be worth? I mean,
I've never even seen an overrun happen. So
no. But I mean, it sounds like that could really ruin. If you can give out 2 suppression tokens, that could really
that's
mess some of these up. So
yeah, someone's game plan.
We're excited about that.
Yeah, we're super excited about it. And honestly, man, like I mean, it's tough. I want to play those too.
Yeah.
Like I guess we'll try those too. What faction do the Geonosians fall in?
It's got to be separate.
Okay.
I mean, I know I can add them.
Works for you.
Yeah.
Works for you. All right, guys, and that's what we have for news updates. Next, we're going to take a little break. We'll come back and talk a little about PAX this year. PAX, what is it? I didn't know until today, till I Googled it.
I knew it existed. I knew kind of where it was held at. I didn't know the full extent of it, though. So it's basically a convention specific to tabletop board, MIDI, wargaming.
Well, specifically, let's back up. That's PAX Unplugged. Apparently, there's 4 dates of PAX. I didn't know this until today. There's Boston, Seattle, Melbourne, and Philly. I think Philly is technically the only one that's unplugged.
I said Chicago, but I meant Philly.
Did you say Chicago?
I think I said Chicago.
I didn't hear that. Maybe you did. I don't know.
Adepticon's on my mind. That's why I said Chicago.
Is Adepticon Chicago?
Adepticon Chicago.
Oh, cool. I like that. But yeah, so the one that just happened on December 6th through 8th is Adepticon Unplugged in Philly. And they held a Legion event there. And it was pretty large from what I understand. Pretty good showing. Just thought we'd touch really quick on a couple things. One, it was interesting. Couple points about PAX. We don't know really the order of the top 8. We don't know a ton about the lists. They haven't released like a full breakdown. If they do, maybe we'll go over it. We'll make a video of us going over the lists and just, saying what little we know about them and thinking they're cool. But what they did release was the factions. So the interesting thing was in the top 8 at the PAX Legion tournament, Unplugged, there was only 2 factions, Republic and Rebels. So now the saving grace of that was, and what I kind of still like, is that although there are only 2 factions being represented in the top 8, it does seem like there was a lot of variety. I mean, we have these lists. It's not just like Anakin. It's the lists are very varied. So real quick, just running through the top 8 in no particular order. If I mess up anybody's name or slight list, I'm sorry. I was jotting these down while I was listening to the Notorious Scoundrels podcast. So thank you to you guys for talking about it. But so we had Sam, who was on an Anakin Padme Pikes list. We had Barry, who was on a Yoda and Cody list. We had John, who's on another Yoda list. Pat was on an Anakin 5's clone commander that he rounded out with all arcs, full arc troopers. Richard was on a Wookiee battle force. Apparently non-force user, just Wookiees, which sounds wild. And then for the Rebel list, you had Jay on a Han Cassian Vets list, Ryan on a Han Echo-based triple Tauntaun list, which they were kind of pumped about and made me kind of pumped because apparently a triple Tauntaun list hasn't really been good for like years. He said that I guess this list like 3 or 4 years ago was kind of a menace. So he said this guy's kind of taking it back. And then my personal favorite, the one that I'm most interested in, is Chris with his 14 activation, like straight Ewok village list, right? Like 14 activations. Like, what are you?
That seems aggressive.
You just is every turn you just waiting for your opponent to be done with his 14 activations when you have your 9.
I mean that's very telling that those results. That makes me a little sad since I don't see any separatists up there. I know since we've kind of got into it, the balance has been talked up that it's there.
Yeah.
So I'll hold reservation, but this is like you said, they weren't all the same like list, but
Right.
knowing that it's basically all guards and rebels is I'm not gonna say alarming, but
It's just noteworthy.
I like to see. Yeah.
It's noteworthy. And the real kind of elephant in the room that we've been talking about doing this and kind of wanted to find a way to segue into it is that they've talked about this twice now. They've had almost an entire cast about it, and then they mentioned it again in their last cast on the Notorious Scoundrels podcast. Is the sort of not, I was going to say rules, but the sort of kind of lack thereof, right?
Yeah.
The rules for what happens in the case of a tie. Brian, right off the gate, how do you feel about tying in competitive gaming?
It is garbage. It should not exist. The only I will say is if you're in a big tournament and there's like 7 rounds of Swiss before they top cut, I'm okay with a tie there because you're just earning points through Swiss. So if a game ends in a tie, I'm okay with whatever each person gets half squad points or whatever the rule may be. But when there's only 3 or 4 rounds, no way. So apparently now how PAX ruled it was they had you roll. Well, the rule was
roll before.
Well, it was rolling a die. I think they had it at previous tournaments after the fact.
Yeah.
So if the game ended in a tie, you would roll off. But PAX did it where now you're rolling off prior, which it was already bad rolling it after. Now that is 10 times worse.
I was gonna say I might be wrong, but I think rolling off beforehand makes me more mad.
Absolutely.
Because talk about giving my opponent some ammo. Like if my opponent wins the tie roll and knows that if we draw, he automatically wins. To me, that changes everything.
It changes everything.
Changes everything.
It forces the person that lost the roll to basically play stupid.
Yeah, you have to play.
I mean, especially come round 5 or whatever, and you know it's looking like a tie. You got to just throw Hail Marys.
And if your opponent chooses to really kind of like play a non-game or like try to evade or try to avoid you or try to whatever, and again, guys, let's hey, I'm gonna put right here disclaimer. We are not highly competitive tournament players. So these are simple opinions. If you want to come after us in the comments, do it because we need more comments. But just remember that these opinions are based off of us playing tournaments of other games where, in general, ties feel bad. Often ties result as a loss for both players. I've actually been known in tournaments to just concede because I would rather someone get a win.
Yeah.
Because if we're both, like, why are we both going down? Like, if we had a great game and it's coming down to a tie, I have been known to just, you know what, I will concede and take the L. Because I'd rather just see someone go with a positive result, and because otherwise we're both, now you have 2 players who are at a disadvantage in this tournament instead of 1, you know, which to me seems super dumb.
Yeah, I agree.
Especially if it's a really good game. If it's 2 people standing back, not wanting to shoot and being nervous and waiting 55 minutes, then I don't care. You
what's funny too, and like again,
if it's a battle and we genuinely tie,
yeah. And again, like I said, we're new to this, but it sounds like, according to the podcast, that sometimes you can tell almost from the get that it's probably going to end in a tie,
right?
Based on the objectives,
and the
squad. So it's like, I mean, my easy solution is it should come down to points killed. I mean, I don't know.
Right, yeah, like, because that's it. Because then it's like, now again.
Now we're attacking.
And then it's back to what we talked about. Because now we're forced to fight. Like, and I'm surprised it's not. There's so many games where, like, a hero clicks, right? Like, guess what? If you get to 55 minutes, if some guy killed 25 points and you killed 0, you're screwing around, you win the game. That's it. You have more points.
That almost seems too simple that I don't even know why that's not the rule.
Yeah, it's strange. But I wish they would. Because to me, I want to play a game where fighting matters.
It's right.
I want my guys to fight. That's what they do. Where it's a war game.
It's a war game.
We're at war. War game is we're not warring over supplies.
So I think this needs to be addressed.
Yeah, I do too. I'm not even there yet, but I do know that if I go to a tournament and I am forced to roll off for a tie before a game, and that has an outcome of the game, it's just gonna leave a bad taste in my mouth. I'm that type of competitive player. I know I'm gonna get there in this game where I want to just know who won, and I want to be outplayed. I don't want to be beat by a dice. No one's gonna be beat by a die or a coin flip. I want to be beat by someone who's genuinely better than me and out strategied and out beat me. Not
But I will say this: if that's the rule that's going to stick to a roll off, it's got to be after. If you
too much information.
If you decide before, it changes the way a person plays entirely.
Yeah.
So I'm not happy about that. But
and I guess the same could be said for after, but that's fine. If you know that it might go to a roll off and you want to try to force it there, that's fine. And then we'll at least play a game and you can try to force it to the roll off and then hope for your 50-50. But man, I'm gonna go after you.
Yeah, that's why I think. And then if it's units attacked or what do you want to say? KO'd units.
Yeah.
And you think it's going to go? You know how many you've killed and they've killed, so you have the running tally. And if it happens to be tied, at least you can make that last.
Even if it's not like the point value of the character, even if it's just like 1-1, like I killed X figures. Who killed more figures? Did you kill one? That's 1 point. Cool. If I killed one droid and you killed, but I don't know.
You can't do that because
they're easier to kill.
Yeah, if you take off like a tank or something.
That's still just one. I guess. So I guess you would have to. But then
it'd be the squad, the unit squad points. So like the.
But what if I only took like 4 droids or 3 droids? Would you take the unit divided by 4 and then times 3 or whatever?
Yeah, well, it would just go in halves, right? Like, so if you took the whole unit, you got their points.
Okay.
If there's half, I guess as long as one unit is killed up to half, you would just get maybe half. Or maybe. Or,
yeah, I mean, hey, we're not game designers.
No, I mean,
but these are
I'm not saying it's foolproof, but somebody's a lot better than rolling.
Get in the comments and tell us what you think. What's a better solution? What's the idea? Let's do this. Let's brainstorm. Let's help them out. Let's talk about this.
Yeah,
I want to hear what some people's ideas are.
A discussion needs to be had.
Yeah.
I would tell you if I get to a level where you see me at a tournament and I'm doing well, that'll piss me right off.
100%. I don't even want to have the idea, but that's the thing too. Like talk about going to do a match, and it's just like I'm excited for this match. I'm thinking about it. I'm waiting on my opponent. It's like, hold on, roll the dice to see who wins if this is a tie, and I'm like, and then I already lose it. Like I'm not, like think about the mental state, right? You've just changed my mental state already. I've already lost the tie die roll, so now whatever game plan I had is out the window. At least leave it to the end. Let me play my game in my head, my game plan, and then we'll discuss that later.
Yeah.
But we could go on for days.
We could.
Schmucks, thank you for coming. Thank you for coming back. Thank you for hanging out. Thank you for the comments. We got a couple comments last week. Thank you for the love on our posts, our TikToks and our Instagram posts of our models have been getting some love. So thank you. We've been getting a few more subscribers. Keep it up. We want to just keep this thing rolling. We love it. We love you guys. Please keep coming back.
All right, guys.